Yes, people, what's happening? Charlie here. Welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV and welcome to another video. First things first, guys, you know what to do. Make sure you smash the likes, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, and make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below. And another day, another Chelsea sale. Christian Pulisic, the latest player to leave the club. He'll be joining AC Milan in a total package worth up to 22 million euros, including add-ons. I think Chelsea is set for an initial 17 million pounds, with the rest coming in bonus payments. That brings the Americans' time at Stamford Bridge to an end. Pulisic, 98 Premier League appearances, only 20 goals and 9 assists. You'd have to say that realistically, we didn't get the player that we thought we were going to get when we signed him from Borussia Dortmund for best part of 60 million pounds. We had moments here and there from him, and he has contributed in some key moments, particularly in that run to the Champions League in Porto in 2021. He got a very important goal in the first leg at the Bernabeu. Well, not at the Bernabeu at the time, but obviously away at Real Madrid. Important goal in that first leg. And he had some good moments for the club, but just really underwhelming. Injuries certainly didn't help his time here. He had a lot of time out with those injury problems, which obviously hindered his progress, didn't allow him to have a consistent run of games either. But it's a strange one because he's still 24 years of age. And to think that we've made, it may well be profit on the books per se, but, obviously a 40 million pound loss on what we spent on him 3 or 4 years ago. It doesn't look too good from a club perspective on that front. But again, it wasn't this owner's money. It was a previous regime's money. So I guess, it is what it is. He didn't want to be at the club. He made it very clear that he wanted to go to AC Milan. We know that Italian clubs don't necessarily like to pay big transfer fees. Want to get away with paying as little as possible. It wasn't worth for me trying to squeeze an extra few million out, maybe get it to 25 million for Pulisic, and risk Milan walking away and keeping a player that doesn't want to be at the club. As Pochettino said many times in his press conference and in his interview that he did with the in-house media at Cobham, is that we want players that want to be here and are focused on the task at hand. And Pulisic doesn't fall into that category. It's kind of mad, though. Another player going to AC Milan. Maybe we might have to be investigating. Well, that's 3 players to AC Milan in recent times. Obviously, Pulisic and Loftus-Cheek this summer. We've sold Fikayo Tomori to AC Milan as well. Maybe Gary Neville needs to have a look at that. We must be cheating again. Ridiculous, really. But it's kind of mad that and Giroud as well. Geez, we have sold quite a few to Milan in the recent past. Obviously, clubs have got a very good relationship, which helps out when we're doing deals like this. But it's another one down that now leaves us with 3 out-and-out wingers in Madueke, Mudryk, and Sterling. You could argue, do we need a 4th, or can we get away with using using Jackson down the left at times if needed, using Nkunku there maybe as well? It'd be interesting to see kind of what direction that the club going. But yeah, the problem we've had with Pulisic is injuries, as I said, not been consistent enough, not delivered on a consistent basis. You could argue he's not had a fair run of games at times, but ultimately, you have to earn the right to play for Chelsea and to earn the right to have a go. There's been certain times, certainly this season just gone, where he definitely should have been playing a lot more than he actually did. But when he had his opportunities, he just wasn't taking them, wasn't delivering, wasn't making a difference when we needed him to make a difference. Obviously, you look back to the Project Restart Pulisic that everyone refers to as his best form, and that kind of tells a story in itself. We're looking at something 3 years ago, and that's when his last decent run of form was in a Chelsea shirt. And it's a shame it's not worked out, because there's a talented player there. You look how well he plays for the US, and I think maybe he could be one of those players that benefits from being a big fish in a small pond. Now, no disrespect to the US, but obviously kind of a small pond in terms of talent, in terms of players that play for that country. So they've got a decent generation now, but he's the main guy. And maybe like Hakim Ziyech with Morocco, he benefits from being the main guy, enjoys that everything goes through him. He feels more confident. He's kind of the best player there. And maybe that makes him perform better. Whereas at Chelsea, he's just another cog in the wheel, as it were. So yeah, look, it's not worked out. We definitely didn't get our money's worth for him, but it's mad because he's still only 24 years old. So there's still a lot of potential in him. If he can keep himself fit, if Milan can realise, get his potential, then there's definitely a very good player there who can make a difference. Who knows whether in Milan he'll play as a 10, whether he'll play on the left potentially as well, because obviously they've lost Brahim Diaz, who was on loan there for a few years from Real Madrid. He's gone back to Real Madrid now. So look, there's going to be opportunities for him. As I said, he'll be linking back out of Loftus-Cheek and Giroud again. So a bit of a Chelsea old boys contingent there, and Fikayo Tomori also. So yeah, I think it will suit him well. I think Serie A will suit him. A little bit less physical. Yes, it's a more defensive league, but he should have more time on the ball to do his thing. But it's another big money signing at Chelsea that just hasn't worked out. It's really frustrating. So there's been a lot of these attacking players that you've paid big money for. You've seen glimpses, and when you think they're going to kick on, they just don't kick on. And that's the biggest problem for me is that Pulisic just didn't kick on. We're looking sort of, you see him have a few good games. You think, right, okay, let's push on now. Let's realize his potential. Let's take it up another level. Let's influence the biggest games. And more often than not, he wasn't even picked for them, or he missed them through injury, or he just didn't make an impact when we were desperate for him to make an impact. Towards the end of his Chelsea career, certainly last season, he was having a much better impact from the bench. And for whatever, I'm not saying he can't play in the Premier League. He's obviously good enough to play in the Premier League for sure, but I don't know if the Premier League necessarily suited his attributes per se. And he wasn't the most physical player in terms of his physicality, but it's just another one of those what ifs. What could we have done more to give him an environment to thrive in and to succeed in? Could he have done more? Absolutely, he could have done more. Could the club have done more? Yeah, quite possibly we could have done. I'm not sure if constantly chopping and changes managers was going to work. His best form came under Frank Lampard in his first reign. And then other than then, he missed a lot of games through injury, and he was just a bit part player. So it's just another one of those guys that came in with a lot of potential, signed for big money, had a few moments here and there, but was massively underwhelming and just didn't deliver on a consistent basis, kind of like we were all expecting him to do. We were all expecting a lot more from him. He came here as a young kid, I think 20, 21 years of age, a lot of potential, did very well at Borussia Dortmund. And we were expecting him to kick on. Now, obviously, you give a bit of leeway with a young boy coming into the Premier League, England, new country, new way of playing, new way of living, new league and whatnot. But, you've had 3 or 4 seasons of this from Pulisic, and there's only really been very small patches where he's been decently, and he looks like the player that we spent that £60 million on. And those moments have been few and far between. So, we obviously wish him all the best at AC Milan. Hopefully he can rediscover his form, rediscover his love for the game, etc. I'm not saying he's lost that, but, kind of re-fall in love with football again, as it were. And it's just a tricky one, isn't it? Because it was absolutely the right thing to do to get rid of him. But I'm sure there's some Chelsea fans that feel, we should have kept him, or he had more to offer. He wasn't given a fair crack. I think when you've been at somewhere 3-4 years, you have been given a fairly decent crack. I mean, to be fair, he's played just shy of 100 games in the Premier League, quite a few in the Champions League, and obviously the domestic cups as well. He scored in the FA Cup final against Arsenal as well. We unfortunately lost with Mikel Arteta in charge for them, Frank Lampard in charge for us. We obviously robbed by the referee, but he did open the scoring there. That's when he was in his best form, and he looked a really good player. He was one of our best players at that point in time, but ultimately didn't push on enough, didn't do enough to succeed at Chelsea. And it's not really a loss because he wasn't a consistent performer for us. Wasn't one of our best players. He didn't want to be here. That much was clear. He wanted a new challenge. He wanted to go to AC Milan. So we've managed to get a deal done. Could we have got more money? Yes, quite possibly. But as I said earlier, you might as well take a few mil less to make sure the player leaves rather than being stuck with someone that doesn't want to be at the club just for the sake of a few extra million at this point in time. So yeah, Christian Pulisic's career comes to an end at Chelsea. Some brilliant moments, but not enough consistency. And another one is out the door. And this clear out is gathering pace. It's been absolutely phenomenal, with the amount of players that we've managed to get out the door already. I think there's only a few more left now. Obviously, Aubameyang, Ziyech, and Romelu Lukaku, the next 3 that need to go. And then if decent offers came in for Gallagher and Chalobah, then one or both of those could potentially go. But there's certainly 3 more that must go. And then we've done a phenomenal job in getting all the players out the club that we needed to get out the club in the space of just over a month or so, which is really, really good going. So fair play to the directors and the owners for getting those deals done, getting those sales out, because it's not an easy thing to do. And Chelsea over the last 10 years have been the best club at selling players, have generated the most money from player sales over the last 10 years. So credit where credit's due on that front. But yeah, Christian Pulisic's Chelsea career comes to an end. He'll be joining AC Milan for a total of 22 million euros with add-ons included in that package, just under 20 million pounds all in. Wish him all the best in Serie A. It didn't work out at Chelsea, but yeah, let's see how long we can get, how quickly it's going to take us to get rid of these kind of last three that I mentioned. And then we got to massively focus on the incomings. But yeah, anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you smash the like, subscribe to Chelsea Fan TV, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. And I'll catch you again in another video soon. Up the Chels.